welcome back. So today I'm going to be doing a Monster Hunter video for you. So the Holiday Joy Festival has just arrived in Iceborne. So if you go to the Seliana hub, you'll see the whole hub is Chinese New Year themed and it looks so cool. Everything's so pretty, the music's changed, the Pelicos and all of the hub lasses are in new outfits, and there's also new armor for hunters and Pelicos themselves. You can forge the armor normally, and you can also get it as layered armor. However, if you want to get any of that, you will need joyful tickets, and these you can get from your daily bounties. That is just for the normal armor. If you want to get the layered armor, you will need something called VIP joyful tickets, and the way you get these is a little bit different. So you'll have to do event quests that are part of this new Christmas event in order to get these tickets. They are a little hard to get from my experience. The only way that I've actually got them is through doing the SafiJiiva siege. I've seen other people got it through the event quest, but you can have a go, see what works for you. By the way, if you do forge a normal armor set, it is much easier to get these VIP joyful tickets, so maybe that's the way to go. The armor set isn't actually that bad and it's really pretty too, so you might want to forge it. There is also other armor pieces and weapons that you can get during this event too, but I'm not going to go into detail into those because this video is mainly focusing on Safi'Jiiva. So I've hunted Safi'Jiiva quite a few times and I found his hunt pretty difficult. I'm not going to lie, he is a very difficult monster, and I just wanted to put together a guide that I thought could help anyone else who's kind of struggling with him. So I'm just going to give you everything that I know about Safi'Jiiva and hopefully will help you complete much quicker and more effectively. So getting into the siege itself, in order to unlock Safi'Jiiva you will have to complete Iceborne, and I believe you will have to fight Rajang and Stygian Xeno'jiiva before you unlock this. So you will have to have the volcanic and tundra region in the Guiding Lands unlocked in order to get there, and I believe the quest requirement is a minimum of a master rank of 24, so make sure you are that or above before you take on this quest. So anyway, getting into Safi'Jiiva's weaknesses, if you look at your hunter notes you will see all the breakable parts. Basically everything on Safi'Jiiva is breakable, and you can sever his tail as well, but his weak points are his head, wings and his front legs. However, you will notice that the NPCs during your fight will tell you to focus on the areas that are most suitable for your weapon. So you'll find that the head takes more damage to blunt weapons, the wings take more damage to piercing weapons, and the front legs will take more damage to severable weapons. That being the hammer for the head, gunner weapons for the wings, and basically any sword for the legs. And in terms of elements, fire, water, thunder, ice and dragon all do 2-star damage, apart from Elder Seal on a dragon weapon has a 3-star efficiency, so out of all of those elements, dragon is probably the best one to pick. However, if you look at the status weapons, you'll see poison and blast do 3-star damage, so out of all the elements that you could pick, I would personally say to pick poison or blast, just because those do the most damage really. With poison, once you do poison Safi'Jiiva, you will do 100 damage each poison pulse, I guess? I'm not sure how you say it, but every time he is poisoned, he'll take 100 damage from the poison itself. Okay, so now that we got the weaknesses out of the way, there are 3 stages to this fight. You'll have stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. Of course, the difficulty will increase each time you go through it, and you will want to put most of your time towards stage 3. So going through this siege, I would recommend that you find a gathering hub that is focusing on Safi'Jiiva. They are very easy to find. If you just filter your search for Safi'Jiiva only, there are usually tons of hubs that are focusing on Safi'Jiiva, so you won't have any problems in that. And the good thing about doing it in a full hub is that, like the Cold Terror Siege, if you have multiple squads going into the fight, you will build up your siege points quicker, so that means you'll be able to slay Safi'Jiiva quicker, and you only have 20 minutes for this fight. And personally, I think that's not enough time, at least if you haven't built up all the points. You will fail a lot as well. I've failed a lot myself. I've probably only won about 4 times and I'm still fighting him. His armor set is really pretty too, that's why. And his weapons are pretty decent. His weapons are much like the Cold Tower Siege, where you get a group of them, however you have a limited number that you can pick. So don't be like me and just pick all of them expecting that you'll get all of them, because you won't. You only get 3 of them. So pick wisely. And you are also guaranteed a weapon for the weapon that you've used in the fight as well. But anyway, going back to the siege points, what I've noticed is that if you look at the current amount of siege points that you've got, if you have stage 1 and stage 2 ticked, that typically means that you will slay Safi'Jiiva, given that you don't die 3 times. It's pretty much a guaranteed win because you'll have enough time for the entire fight. Having a tick next to it means that he'll go through that stage much quicker, and I've noticed once you've done that, the next time that you fight him, you won't have the ticks there, so you will have to build it back up again. So that one you'll most likely lose because you'll spend the most time in stage 1 and stage 2. However, the game after that, you'll usually win it again because you've built it back up. At least that's what I found. So you'll win, you'll lose, you'll win, you'll lose. That's the kind of pattern that I've seen. But anyways, going into the actual areas now, I'm going to break down each area. I'm not going to go into each attack just because I feel like you should experience that yourself and get to know his moves yourself. There are a few moves I am going to point out that are more major attacks, I guess, but I'm not going to go through every single attack. So first of all, we have Area 1. So in this area, Safi'Jiiva is usually the most tame. He doesn't move that much. However, there are a few traps in the area and you do need him to move to those areas in order to use them. So it can be a pain that he doesn't move, but you don't have to use the traps, especially if you do, but it kind of depends on where he moves. But the first thing you will want to do is to use your clutch claw to soften his hide. So before you try to attack him whatsoever, just get your clutch claw out, grapple on to any part of him and weaken his hide. You want to do that everywhere, all over Safi'Jiiva before you even attempt to hit him, because your weapon will just bounce off or you'll do very little damage to him. So it's actually completely pointless to try and attack him then. You'll see what I usually do is put down a health booster and use my mantle. The only reason I do that is just so I can get the most damage and not have to worry about my health. And I do that throughout the entire match as well once they have recharged. You will also get the NPCs, the handler, telling you to use your clutch claw as well. They will give you a few tips throughout the entire match, they always do, that are really helpful and you should listen to because they will help you throughout the entire fight, and they are things that you should be doing anyway. So in this area there are 3 ways you can actually trap Safi'Jiiva. So 2 of them are boulder traps in the northeast and northwest of the map, and all you have to do is just shoot them down with your slinger ammo and have them fall onto Safi'Jiiva, and they usually do around 4,000 damage, which is a lot. So if you can, you should definitely use this. However, since Safi'Jiiva obviously doesn't move much, it can be pretty difficult to try and pull it off. But if he's ever under them, make sure that you use them as well, and of course the NPCs will remind you of this if Safi'Jiiva is close to them. They will also give you the tip of the decayed area, where if you flinch Safi'Jiiva whilst he's on top of it, he will get trapped by the vines and be unable to move for a while. But in terms of his attacks in this stage, but what I would stay clear of is his long range attacks. I think they're the most deadly. For example, one of them is a charged beam out of his mouth. So what he would do is that he would track you, and you'll see his head following your movements, which is actually very clever of them to do, and you can definitely tell from that alone that he is a mature version of Xeno'jiiva. Remember, anything that I do tell you are just tips. I can't exactly do it for you, so most of this will be through you learning as well. These are just a few tips to help you along the way. And please carry life powder with you. The amount of times that people have died because other people don't heal is actually ridiculous. Please use them. Please use them. You can save someone from fainting. That's why I always equip wide range to stop people from fainting. Of course, it doesn't always help, but there are many times where you can heal people, so make sure you carry that. One more thing that I do want to mention in this area is that when SafiJiiva is restoring his energy, you will see the energy pulsing through him, and once he's done that, you will want to use your clutch claw again to soften up his hide because he will have restored it. So every time he does that move, please use your clutch claw and soften it again all over, because otherwise you'll have the same problem of your weapon bouncing off or doing little damage. So moving on to area 2 now. In this area, Safi'Jiiva is a little bit more mobile and he does his ultimate attack. So his ultimate attack is very much like Behemoth's ultimate attack if you ever fought him in this game, which is basically a one-shot, so you do not want to get caught by this whatsoever. There will be a few cracks in the ground, and once Safi'Jiiva flies up, you'll know that he's doing his ultimate. That's the only time he will fly up. Once he has flown up, you'll want to run straight to one of those cracks and stand behind it. And stand behind it until he's completely finished his ultimate attack. Otherwise, you will die and your teammates will not be happy because you shouldn't have died from that. You can also see them on your map as well, so make sure you pay attention to your map and where the cracks are and go to the one that's nearest to you, or always stay near a crack as well, because that will help you not die by this too. Just to give you a tip for not dying by this as well, if your controller is vibrating whilst he's doing this attack, it means you're not safe and that you will die. So get behind a crack and make sure your controller isn't vibrating, because if it isn't, that means you're safe and that you won't die. It's also a great time to sharpen your weapon and heal if you need to as well. Also, throughout the game, if you do need to heal at any point or sharpen, make sure that you stand behind one of those cracks, because if you don't, then Safi'Jiiva will most likely do a laser beam to your face, which you don't want, so make sure you stand behind the crack to do any of that. Another thing that will be different in this round is, similar to Behemoth again, is a thing called Safi'Jiiva's ire, which will be given to the player who's dealt the most damage to Safi'Jiiva at that moment. So what this means is that you'll grab the attention of Safi'Jiiva and he will follow you solely, mostly that is. And with this comes a very dangerous attack, which is Safi'Jiiva's pinning attack. This is one that you really want to look out for, because if you get caught in this, it is a one shot and you will die. If your teammates don't heal you, you will get the handler prompting you saying that your teammate is in trouble. So please use your life powder to heal your teammates if they do get pinned, because you literally can't escape it unless your teammate heals you. And if you are the one who has been pinned, do not get up after the attack, because basically what happens is Safi'Jiiva will grab you in his mouth and he will basically blast you with his beam onto the ground, and you will be burning and you will have 0 health. You won't die immediately, but you will have a few seconds of where your teammate can heal you. If you are the one doing the healing, wait until he has been shot down with the beam before you heal, because you don't really want to do it too early, because you're going to lose all your health anyway when you're doing the beam. So whilst he's doing the beam, or afterwards, straight afterwards I mean, you have to use your life powder then. You really want to save them then. One more thing that you can do in this stage is that you can actually mount Safi'Jiiva. His mount is extremely easy, so take advantage of that and make sure that you attempt to mount. If you can, in stage 2 and 3 you can do this. And also if you do mount his back, and if you have a harder hitting weapon, you can actually break his back by mounting. Anyways, moving on to the final stage now, area 3. This is where Safi'Jiiva is the most mobile and most aggressive. Also, it is typically the longest stage, so you will want to dedicate most of your time to this area, which is why I mentioned at the start it is better to go into a multiplayer hub so you can increase the siege points quicker, so you can do stage 1 and 2 quicker and get to stage 3 and spend most of your time there. The thing that's different about stage 3 is that you'll get a new state of Safi'Jiiva, which is called super critical state. So when Safi'Jiiva gets into this mode, he becomes extremely weak, at least his hide is, so you'll do much more damage to him. However, to compensate for that, Safi'Jiiva does get much more aggressive, and I mean much more, so be careful about your positioning and always look at your health bar as well, because he will do more damage to you. And this is probably the best time to put your health booster down and to use your mantle as well, because you don't really want to be worrying about your health whilst he's in this stage, because what you want to be doing is the most damage. So if you do have the mantle on and the health booster, you don't have to worry about it so much, but still keep an eye on it as well. And be aware that it's only in his super critical state that you can break the chest and also sever the tail, I believe. But if you do want to sever the tail, then I do recommend that you focus on the tail throughout the entire match, because I believe that you do have to keep hitting it in order to weaken it enough that it is severable. In area 3 you can also mount. Like I said earlier, there are a few ledges that you can jump off, but they are quite small and not easily seen, so if you do have an insect glaive user though, that could come in handy too if you want to get off more mounts. However, there are also 4 traps in this area that do replenish, so around the outskirts of the map you'll see 4 gas chambers. So what you'll want to do is lure Safi'Jiiva to these areas and use your singlet ammo to hit the gas, and this will basically cause the gas to explode, and sometimes it will topple Safi'Jiiva over, and it also does 1000 damage each and replenishes each time, so it actually is really useful to use, so make sure you make use of that as well. And of course, Safi'Jiiva's ire is still active in stage 3, so the person with the ire should be the one who lures Safi'Jiiva to these areas so that you can pull it off and do more damage to him. Be aware that Safi'Jiiva will also do his ultimate attack in area 3 as well. However, it is slightly different. So you will see several cracks on the ground, but like Behemoth, where the meteors came down and would break after his ultimate, the same thing happens in stage 3. So there will be some already on the ground, however once he has done his ultimate the cracks will break. Safi'Jiiva will roar later on, which will cause more cracks to fall down from the sky. However, if these cracks do hit you, I believe they do kind of knock you over and sometimes send you flying and also do a bit of damage, so be wary of that and take care of your health before you continue. I've also had at times where Safi'Jiiva will do his ultimate, have destroyed all the cracks, and then he will do his ultimate again and then no cracks there. So that's happened once to me, and I know it's happened to a few other people, so be wary of that, because if he does do that, then obviously you're all dead, you're all died. And probably a smart thing that you should do is use your Farcaster to go back to the camp, because then you won't die. Maybe if that ever happens to you, use your Farcaster then if you haven't already. That will save you all from dying. Anyways, I believe I've gone through everything and hopefully I haven't missed anything out. Hopefully this helps you too, let me know if it does, and I hope you enjoy the siege and the festival. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Bye!